What's going on, everybody? So we're here with our second little highlight show. So we're gonna have a little background music in the back playing as well.
What up, gladiators and fellow viewers? How are y'all doing today? Oh,
Well, we
there.
got Colton in here. He was in here yesterday. So we gonna be
I,
breaking
I don't
down.
know.
Hmm?
I don't know if he got an ad, but an ad started on mine.
Oh, I don't have an ad. So we'll just wait for the ad to be over on yours, I guess.
All right, and we are back. Yep, there it is.
So without further ado, we're gonna break into our first fight here. We got Dogo versus Spook. So we got Dogo coming out using Anthony Pettis. You got Cerrone is who Spook's playing at. And I want you to kind of notice something. If you go back and you look at that first one, right? So let's start it back over. So go back and look at this. It's going to play a big key factor into him winning this bout. See it right there. So you see he goes to the body. Now he's going to do this early and often. He's going to go downstairs and he is going to work the lower extremities of Dogo. So that's just something Dogo really doesn't pick up on too well. You know, he's really heavy on blocking his head. So I want you to keep an eye on those strikes.
Yeah, during this matchup, Spook had done very well with attacking a body and pulling Dogo's guard, trying to pull his guard low so it opens up the head strikes.
And we're gonna move
And one of the
forward a
key
little bit
factors
to
in
this.
this matchup here, you would see, the patience in which Spook has showed during this matchup. He wasn't throwing a whole bunch of crazy strikes, but he was doing well with digging to the body every now and again. Because as you see, Dogo was leaving that area wide open.
Yes, he was. So we
Uh,
gotta
pay
slow down
attention
a
to the
bit.
hand.
There it is right there. So we want to go back and revisit and take another look at that strike. Take a look at the little setup he's got here. He's able to bait him into this body shot. So watch his hand. Watch his hand. He's going to bait him into that body shot. He's going to make him think that he's throwing multiple shots. Boom. Shot to the body. Now, like I said, those are going to play key factors going into this fight throughout the entirety of it. So we're going to skip a little bit further ahead here. Going to see some more body work. Like I said, Dogo just wasn't covering up well enough the body. He was really head hunting. And I'm going to tell you
he wasn't doing very well with mixing up his high and low block. He basically stood there and just kept his hands up the whole time.
Right. But you see a little stun. So Dogo got a stun. He wasn't going downstairs enough for my liking in this fight. Dogo was just mainly head hunting. And there are a lot of points in this fight where Spook is left vulnerable to body attacks. But in order to mask that vulnerability, Spook is out here throwing his own body shots out. That way Dogo can't get any real sense of offense going.
Because out of the two strikers, Anthony Pettis does have the better boxing compared to Donald Cerrone. When it comes to the kick game, I would say Pettis has a bigger variety.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe Donald Cerrone has more power behind his kicks, especially this version of him.
Let's go ahead. We're going to skip ahead a little bit in this matchup right to this point. Now you see both guys are a little slower, a little winded, but Anthony Pettis, of course, is going to take more damage. There's another body shot. You see, he puts money in the bank, and he started doing that earlier. There's another body shot. So if y'all watch these following combinations that come up, there's another body kick. And I mean, it's too little too late for Dogo at this point. He didn't put enough money in the bank. He didn't put enough body work in. You see the nice little rock back there. Nice body kick. There's another body shot, which stuns him and puts him down on the ground. Now watch this next combination that's fixing to come up here. So we're actually going to slow this down a little bit. There's money right there. Body shot. And he kind of sets off it a little bit. Throws an elbow. Nice uppercut coming through. He does block that shot though. You see how winded he is. Body shot. Boom. Rocks him. And he's going to go upstairs. He's going to go right back downstairs. Boom. Drops him. Finishes the fight just like that. So I mean, Spook did an amazing job of going downstairs and keeping it downstairs and making this a nasty, grueling fight for him.
Yes, he did. And you know, hopefully Dogo goes back and rewatches this, or rewatches his fight, and notices, you know, his footwork. He wasn't circling out very much. He was just basically moving back and in and out of the pocket, and giving Spook nothing but opportunities to dig to that body as he moved out and moved in. You know, he hit him with the kick as he moved out of the pocket, and he struck and he hit him with the 1-2, and then the body shot as he came in.
All right, so we're going to move up to our next fight. This is one of Croc's favorites here. This is going to be Colton versus Croc. Now, going into this matchup, there's certain things that you need to notice going forward where Colton was very successful. And I'm going to say almost with his footwork and baiting Croc to throw first.
Yeah, he did well to sit back and wait. You know, he stayed on the back foot a lot, even though he didn't back up towards the cage because I wasn't pressuring him.
So first
he did well with those leg kicks. The calf kicks were scoring a lot for him.
So let me see if I can pull this combo out. We're going a little bit of reverse here. I wish I could go faster, but for some reason it doesn't allow that. Right here, this shot right here is a key shot in this fight. So we'll slow it down a little bit and let you see. He goes body straight to head hook. Now Croc does a good job of covering up on this one, but it's a shot that definitely plays a big factor going on later into this fight. So we're going to move a little bit further ahead here to our next clip. And this is going to go more into our stats side. Now you sit here and look at these numbers.
It might be an ad break, but
no ad break on mine. So go back and look at the numbers here. I'm gonna go ahead and highlight now something that Colton did a good job of was forcing Croc into throwing a higher percentage than he's normally used to. But Colton himself also threw 121 strikes to Croc's 120, but you don't normally see Croc throw that much. That shows you that Colton's going on the back foot, trying to attempt to be a more defensive fighter. And you can even look right here, the eye. I wish I would have highlighted a little bit more with that left hook, but the eye of Ally Quince is already busted open just by him catching that hook.
Yeah, he did very well returning and firing off that hook anytime he came in a pocket. And you know, just beating me to the punch. He wasn't biting on the fakes. He was just letting his hands go, and he did very well with that. You know, also those who don't know, fakes do also count as strikes sometimes, depending on how late you stop the strike from going out. So if you catch it as soon as you throw it, it will not count as a strike. But if you actually catch it halfway out, it actually counts as a strike.
Absolutely. So we're speeding up a little bit. We got to play in a little faster pace. You see Croc here was attempting to get his groundwork in, you know, and do his damage down low. But Eddie Alvarez just has some dexterity to him. He's willing to, you know, he's able to take a whole lot of punishment.
Yeah, Eddie is a tough character, but Colton did very well to neutralize a lot of the ground game. Um,
So we're gonna skip ahead a little bit. See, the fight does play back and forth. They end up both going to the ground. And like I said, one thing that he did well in making you do, I would say, is fire first. That was something he did very well in the first round, and he seems to bait you into a little bit more shots here into the second.
he did like you said, he did well trying to bait me into the shots.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. Some would say you would say bait. Me personally, I would say being tentative. So
yeah,
it it kind of forced the narrative because you can't have a match, without two people engaging.
right.
So
Well, and
someone
here
had to engage. Someone had to engage first.
and here, it was like I said, that money shot at left hook all night. Was he put that in. He put the work in, and was able to get the doctor to come in here and step in and take a look at it and call a stop to the fight. So we'll move on next to Modify versus Rainmaker. This is going to be a little quicker one than we're normally doing because we're doing the entirety of the card.
In this matchup too, Modify versus Rainmaker, was an interesting fight. Those of y'all who are consistent watchers of our streams and of our pay-per-views, have seen Modify plenty of times on every card, and Rainmaker makes his appearances here and there. But Modify is a two division champ, both BMF and bantamweight champion.
Yeah.
And this fight right here is for the title, welterweight title between Modify and Rainmaker. Modify's opponent wasn't able to make it.
Yeah. So this shot right here is another key factor going into this fight that he did very well. It's a slip straight. So, and watching this, if you watch a little bit further ahead, you'll see a couple more slips. He does well leading off his jab as well. And I think him being such a heavy wrestler plays a key factor into him having so much success in the striking game today. Because it's something Modify was a little more worried about, was going down to the ground. Modify has gotten better there, but Rainmaker come out, he just put on a world-class performance in order to take that title away.
Yeah, because I thought it was a little odd that Modify went with Gilbert Burns for this matchup, but it made sense going against Rainmaker.
Yeah.
Being that, like Boogeyman said, he is a predominantly wrestling style fighter.
Right.
But to see Modify go with a predominant jiu-jitsu style fighter again, and knowing that he doesn't have that type of skill set behind Gilbert to use Gilbert Burns that way, it kind of put him in a disadvantage. But he also did well, not to take away from his fight. It just set him off ever so slightly.
So we're going to speed this fight up a little bit. We'll watch it in about 1.5% faster, so you kind of get to see the work. I mean, you kind of pick up on the things that Rainmaker was successful with here. He did a lot of body shots, a lot of sways, but he got real ground heavy as the rounds progressed.
Yeah, he started wearing on that gas tank of Burns. Since Burns was throwing quite a few strikes on the feet.
Yeah,
and he didn't really want to be on the ground. As you see, he wasn't going for any takedowns really. I mean, that one there, but if I'm not mistaken, throughout the whole fight, Classy was the more dominant when it came to the ground game.
Right. But I mean, Modify did have a little bit of success in the first round. But also the unwillingness to engage there. I would probably try to keep it there a little bit, take back control, and do a little bit of work. Let's see, we got 1 minute and 50 seconds left of the round. Let's speed this up just a little bit for you guys. So you can see that Classy's doing a good job of managing his distance here. He's not staying in the pocket against Burns because Burns does have that heavy power. So he's keeping him away, doing his body kicks. He's working his range very well with Shaukai. He's not really allowing Modify to get too much offense going.
And actually, these past two fight cards, I mean, yes, we had a lot of gladiators throwing throwing some high volume strikes.
Mm-hmm.
But as you see with the higher tier fighters, and as the lower and mid tier fighters start getting better, the strike counts start coming down.
Right.
But the strike percentages start going up.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of people, a lot of gladiators need to look into. Because cardio is a big factor, especially in the sim league.
Well, see, and that right there, just the submission attempt that he offered up, it's gonna zap your stamina. He was able to lock that one in, get it real quick. It doesn't look like it does much, but it does zap that stamina. So he's putting in the money in the first round. He does the body work, head work, and then in the second round, yeah, he's getting caught a little bit, but he does a little bit more wrestling, dirty boxing. And coming into round 3, he comes in with a more heavy ground approach, which I don't, I want to say that Modify was expecting it. You can tell by the first round he didn't want it just to go to the ground. But I mean, how do you defend that for 3 rounds solid?
I don't know how. It's just pray to the MMA gods and hope for the best.
Yeah. But I mean, you're coming out here, and if you watch this fight live, you've seen Classy come out, like I said, put on a world-class performance against a guy like Modify. Modify did a spectacular job attempting to take that title home to the UK, but Modify just came out, and he wasn't the fighter he normally is, and Classy made him pay for it. And I'm not going to say that Modify necessarily wasn't the fighter he normally is. Classy just did that well. He did a really good job of coming in here and putting on a staple performance.
Yeah, as you've seen there, about at the 2-minute 20-second mark, Modify was trying to block high and low, and Classy was still catching him with the knees to the midsection.
Yeah. And Classy was doing that every time. He made him pay. Anytime Modify would miss or come in with flurry, he would catch something to the body.
And that was a very smart move to put that money in the bank and pay the interest and dividends later.
Yeah. And if you watch here, he actually goes for... I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit, but he goes downstairs about every third combination. There it is again. He's going downstairs, so he's going to catch a couple upstairs. He's going to get you comfortable with that, and he's going to put money right back in the bank down here. There it is. So he does a good job of breaking him down, stamina wise, without you even realizing what he's doing. There's another one. See, he doesn't want you to get too close. He's not going to let Gilbert Burns get that power off, and he's going to keep working that body. You can see right there the labored throw by Gilbert Burns.
Maybe
those shoots right there. Those shoots right there. I'm sorry to cut you off, but the shoots like that are what we call a desperation attempt. Like it's almost a panic wrestle, and to do that against somebody like Classy, you see what happens here. Like I said, he's putting money in the work, money in the bank. He's hitting those body shots. And he goes to cinch up the darts. Modify did a good job of getting out of that one, though. You see here the striking percentage landed. Classy had a very, very high accuracy rate on his strikes. I mean, they were pretty similar, just the significance of where it was at for Classy. They were similar here, but then you get to the ground control. That was the big key to this.
Yeah, Classy probably had a good idea about Gilbert Burns's stamina. He's not the best with cardio, especially on the feet, but he has good perks to help him on the ground.
And we haven't talked a whole lot about Modify here. Modify, I think the biggest downfall to his performance in this fight is he should have worked more from range. He should have picked the shots a little better instead of trying to bull rush in, because he is getting caught constantly every time he pressures Classy. You'll probably see Classy
he wasn't using Burns's boxing as effective as he should.
And I mean, that speaks volumes of the type of training Classy put in, type of work. His training camp had been solid for this one going in. He's not really allowing any offense whatsoever by Gilbert. You see Gilbert throwing a shot here and there, but mainly it's Classy every time that Modify goes to step in. Classy is the aggressor, even though you see Modify stepping in.
Well, another thing I would like to add, you will be able to tell longer and longer fights go on,
Mm-hmm.
like the more and more you see fighters, that you can tell what gyms some people are a part of because you have certain key signature moves or styles that each gym would have.
Right.
You know, Classy is a wrestler, but he has come a long way with his striking,
Mm-hmm.
and he does pick and choose his strikes very well, better than what he used to.
Oh, definitely. I think he's only been playing this game for a little over a year now, and the leaps and bounds that he's grown is just impressive. And this is somewhere that I know Modify did not want to be, and it's a spot exactly where Classy wanted to be. He wanted to stay down here. He wanted to show his ground dominance, and he did a good job from the third round on.
Yeah, and Shavcock's character does benefit from being in top control versus being on bottom.
Right.
Someone like Gilbert Burns is much more dangerous, regardless. I mean, on top control and bottom control, really, because he's a jiu-jitsu black belt,
Yeah.
specialist at that range. But
Let's go back and watch
it
the
goes
victory.
better for Rainmakers. Top control is the best factor.
Right. So you see here, he's back heavy on the ground presence, goes for the submission, and instantly gets that into an armbar, which unfortunately for Modify, he was not able to get out of.
No, but see, as he rolls over to his belly and cinches it in and
Yeah.
mum's the word.
So this fight here is one of mine, and I'll tell you my game plan going forward is you're going to get somebody like Islam. You don't necessarily want to sit here and try to exchange and trade with him, so you got to pick your shots very well and try to wear him down. Because Tony, you've only got 88 power, and the game plan going into this was just to wear him down, not try to kill him with volume, but try to pick my shots well going forward. And I think the biggest problem going into this fight, and Croc's going to touch on it a little bit, is Islam's unwillingness to keep this fight on the ground. And it's understandable when you're going to get somebody like Tony, but the strong suit for Islam is the groundwork. It's the ground and pound. You need to be trying to get up and do ground and pound and solid work. So the idea of these submissions, it wasn't so much to lock the submission in, it was the threat of submission to try to keep you guessing.
Yeah, because you don't always have to go for the submission lockup. There are other moves that you could do to transition. Like Boogeyman just said, the threat of the submission is what deters. Even if you go for this darts here, like he just did, it was just basically the threat of potentially getting it. Yes, he goes for the lockup, but of course, submitting Islam Makhachev is no easy. The 5-star Tony.
Yeah, it's no easy task.
A big downfall during this matchup, as you see, even though we're still in the first round, Spider is not working his jab. Makhachev has a very good jab, very good 1-2 strike down the middle, and he's not poking and prodding with it. The jab is not meant to do damage. It's really just as a unit of measurement to gauge your distance and set up combinations. He attempts to take down right there, but gets stuffed by Boogeyman, and he does well to. And I think that was the only shot that he basically went for that whole round, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And going back looking at that shot, I shouldn't have denied it. That was my forte, is wanting to take this fight to the ground. But it was also at the same time of me taking away his ability to take me down. So now he knows, look, you're not getting me down there unless I want to go down there.
Yep. The one thing Spider failed to do also, he wasn't working his clinch work. He wasn't using his jab.
Right.
And he wasn't trying to at least poke a jab to the body, at least every once in a while. He was kind of focused on headhunting, very fixated on a target in front of him.
Now, if
And
you
it's harder to hit a small target like that versus the whole body.
yeah, and if you take a look at the stats, right? So you got 1543 for him on significance. You got 15 to 48 for me. So it's really even significant wise, which the significance play a big factor for Islam over Tony. With the total strikes, I ended up landing 31 of 77. He was 26. I mean, it was very. It was sort of even, I would say, in that round. But then you get down here to the control time on the ground. That's a big factor going forward in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, he already had a submission attempt on him already in that first round. He almost had that Darce locked in, and
Hmm.
it was tight. You know, he struggled. He struggled him to get that cardio low, and then went for the lockup. So that takes a double whammy on your
Right.
stamina regen.
Absolutely, it does.
And even being active in with the submission attempts, denying their transition takes another tax on their cardio.
Right. So I'm not going to show the entirety of every round because we are limited on time today. But you can sit here and you can see in the last round I got 2 stuns and wobbles on him. We got 14 of 80 on significance, 14 of 18 of 40. I'm sorry, on significance. He was fairly close to that number, 22 of 45, higher total strike accuracy compared to his 2 of 2 on takedowns with a minute 36 control. Now you'll see them 1 minute and 2 seconds control here, and that was if I would go back and show the entirety of it. I don't mind being on the ground, being on bottom. It's the threat of the submission that's the biggest thing that people don't pay attention to. Like I said, I know we're kind of zooming through these.
But the fights are up on YouTube
Yes.
and on Twitch also. So you can always go back and watch them. And then you can always go back and watch, our fight recap breakdown
Right.
also.
Now take a quick look at, keep an eye on the swaybacks. So the swaybacks are something I started working a little bit heavier into the later part of this fight because I wanted to get him comfortable with me not doing it in the first part of the fight. So once he started throwing those heavy shots, he's throwing elbows, he's throwing hooks. He's attempted to finish this fight, right? And
Yeah, he's trying to press forward a little too late. After the damage is already done in round 2.
there it is.
And he's on the back foot losing this match, so he feels like he has to finish the fight in round 3.
Mm-hmm. There's another one just out of range with that one. So we'll go ahead and skip to the back end of this fight. I believe we have 3 seconds left whenever the fight does end. But see, the money's there, the work's there, the money's already been put in, the head damage is there, and the stamina is lacking. So he doesn't have the power, I would necessarily say, to finish this fight with one big shot.
Yeah, look at the amount of strikes that he throws towards the end of this match, and the setup and the patience that Boogeyman shows, and what he goes for at the end.
Right there. So right there was another sway back elbow, and it was inevitably a matter of time, which is as constantly forward pressure as he was throwing. He was throwing a lot of forward pressure, which is detrimental if you get countered throwing a whole lot.
Especially if you're not letting yourself recover from getting up from the ground, especially after submission attempt.
Now
your cardio is low, and you need time to recover.
Absolutely. Now this is one that
the most shocking fights.
Yeah, this is really
of the evening on that card. Kudos to Mr. Nicholas on his victory, and he did very well to make ZDZ to meet ZZ Claw using Conor McGregor.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the footwork, Mr. Nicholas is, as we call it in the MMA community and the UFC community, is playing footsies basically with Claw, using Mr. Nicholas using Oliveira, which he doesn't have. He's not the best character in that weight class, but his footwork is decent enough.
Right.
But against a fighter like Conor McGregor, you have to be on your bicycle, and on his bicycle he was in and out, poking and prodding. It's I would say good character usage by Mr. Nicholas, good pressure, good footwork, but bad character usage and footwork by ZDC Claw too. Yeah, you never see a Conor McGregor player fight like this, especially.
Well, before we start saying bad work, I want y'all to pay attention here. Look at the distance that Mr. Nicholas creates when he steps away, which is very, very important if you're fighting somebody that's using Conor, because you want to stay away from that big power left that he carries. big power right. I'm sorry, it's big power left. But he does have power in both hands. But
Yeah.
he picks his shots and he's in and out. So like I said, let's see if he does it here. No, he didn't do it there.
But also look at the position of the fighters. You know, Connor has his back against the cage. He's pretty much behind that black line.
Yeah.
The whole time. He doesn't really go and try to fight for a command of the center of the ring.
Right. But the distance that he's willing to accept, Nicholas, he's fine with that, right? He wants to stay away from that big power, the kicks, and that straight left. Like I said, he does a good job, man. He's in and out, in and out. He's not allowing Connor to do a whole lot of heavy damage.
Man, a big spot here. Connor isn't really working the kicks. He's throwing kicks out of range. He's not setting it up. He's just trying to counter and not working his jab. And you know, Connor is big on setting up with that jab. He pokes and prods with it and throws that left.
Yep. So he does get a set down there, but he gets an instant set down of his own.
Yep, right back. Claw got a little bit too zealous and stayed there and felt like he did enough damage to finish the fight. And
again, the distance. The distance to me is what won this fight for Mr. Nicholas. His willingness to disengage, to get back away from danger and throw his own shots. There's just so many opportunities, so many times he has done this throughout the fight.
There was a moment ago where Connor was throwing through the 1-2 a couple times, and he was just on the back end of the strike, so Mr. Nicholas did not get a whole bunch of damage from that, even though his guard was down.
Here it is again.
You'll see that the 1-2 lands, but it's like 30% power at that point.
Yeah. And this is very important, man. If y'all are watching this fight, this is a very important thing for y'all to take in mind and take into consideration and start doing things like this. Keep your distance. You can win a fight, and you don't have to be right up in front of somebody and making it a dogfight.
Yeah, as you see there with that showing that distance between them two, you see Mr. Nicholas loaded up, ready to spring back in because he knows that he's expecting Z to throw a strike before he gets there because he's trying to anticipate the step in.
Yep.
You know, and that comes a factor when you're not using your jab to get your range.
Correct.
You know, so that could have been avoidable or mitigated better if you would work your jab, even if it misses, just stick it out there every now and again.
Right.
So you can actually gauge your distance.
Right. So we're breaking most of these down in a little bit faster motion. Like I said, we're pressed for time today. We're going to try to break them down best we can. And Joker, early on in this fight, he did a lot of work to the body, but he really got away from that as this fight progressed. And he actually let Brute have more of his way going in throughout the rest of these rounds. And Brute did a great job with his striking. Standing in there with somebody like Joker who could finish you at any moment.
The part I would say Joker had a little bit of issues with, it was just the takedown thought from Brute.
Well, I want you to look at this. Yeah. So just like the last fight we were discussing, right? Look at the distance. There's barely any. So his arms are long enough. He's going to make contact every time he's throwing. Joker's not building enough distance. But another thing that Brute is not allowing is a lot of distance between Joker and the cage. So there's not a lot of room for Joker to attempt to get that because Joker's not circling out.
Mm-hmm. And as you see, as he threw that 1-2, he stepped in and then moved his head off the center line instantly. And he's expecting a rebuttal.
And here, counter. Look, where Brute's keeping himself, right? The line's here. So he's keeping himself within range where there's a minimal amount of range for Joker to go backwards. And again, what I'm not seeing from Joker is he is not moving himself from side to side. He's not going side to side at all.
No lateral movement.
He's just going in and out, in and out. And at this point, Brute's able to pick up on reads, and he's able to hurt him. And even playing this in fast motion, it really gives you an idea how much you really move from side to side.
If you look at the footwork of Brute, he's not necessarily standing completely stationary when he's throwing strikes. he might start to throw a
Well, he
combination and
comes
he's
out this
already
way.
starting to move.
He comes out this way, right? And he'll move out, and then he'll circle back in, and then he brings it right back around. So
Yeah, once he get his feet under him, that's when the strike's coming out.
yeah, so he's moving in almost a triangular pattern, but at the peak of that triangle is whenever he's throwing his strikes. And at this point, he's just waiting for Joker to come in, throw big shots, block him, and tire himself out.
Yeah, being that Duplessis is the bigger and stronger fighter of them two.
And I mean, Joker is he did a good job in there of cutting the cage off, but he stopped. He started moving backwards again, which gave enough room to exit out and attempt to pick up his own damage with his own offense. A whole lot of body teeps there. See, he's kind of keeping him back to the cage, and I don't know if you know, but those body teeps that he's throwing, it's not to do damage here. It's to get Joker back to the cage.
Great distance, throw him off his rhythm.
Now that last TP did throw, that was for a little bit of distance. You see the nose is busted up there. But the number that Joker has thrown is going to hurt him tremendously later on in this fight. He did get one stun and wobble, but the success he had with his total strikes and throwing over 50% on his significance is a big deal.
Yep, even though it was 131 strikes thrown, but he did land at a very high clip, so it did mitigate a lot of that stamina loss.
Absolutely. So we're going to move on through this fight just a little bit. See, Brute does get some stuns and wobbles in there. Doctor comes in to check things out. And this round here, I believe, no, second, yes, the latter part of round 2, Brute is putting money in the bank when it comes to ground and pound. So he's doing his damage now on the ground and really putting the work to Joker.
Yeah, it seemed like his game plan was to try to stand up in the first round, drain him of his cardio and stamina due to strikes and missing strikes.
Yeah,
and then work the ground game in the later rounds, because knowing how Joker fights, you know, he's a very explosive fighter in the league. So trying to troll him on the ground early in the match could be detrimental to your cardio.
Right, and so you got 3 stuns and wobbles here. You got 1 knockdown. You got almost half clip landed on significant strikes. A little bit under half landed on total. Joker though only landed 8 significance and only 19 in that round. So that shows the cardio was zapped here going into round number 2.
Even though it still was 121 strikes thrown, almost identical to the first round. He threw 130, I think it was 131.
Yeah.
So 9 to 10 strikes off of what he normally throws.
Right.
What he threw.
And at this
point, going into the third, you know, it's already starting to go downhill for Joker a little, as you see he's gassed, and Brute still trying to manage that distance.
Yeah. And we go back to the stats here. So if you go back to the stats here, you see again, Joker only lands 5 of 32, 20 of 78. You got over 50% landed on total strikes. Well over, I mean, you're close. You're probably at 75% with significance. 2 stuns and wobbles, and 2 minutes and 4 seconds of ground control. So I mean, this fight is starting to really favor Brute a lot heavier than it already did coming from the second round.
Yeah, I would call this like a Michael Chandler-esque performance by Joker. You know, he starts off strong. He keeps up the pace throughout the whole fight, but
yeah,
it you know, slowly his gas tank does drain, but he gives that effort, you know, 100%. You can see at some point Brute does start cracking through Joker's armor, and
I mean, here he's just raining those elbows from the bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, you get into about that point where this fight is going to be over. You're going to see big right there. There it is.
And this is actually the welterweight title fight too, for those who didn't know.
Yeah, that was not the
middleweight. middleweight title defense by Brute.
Yeah, so you see right there, he catches him on the counter. It looked like Joker was actually going for a knee here. He was going for a knee up the middle, and Brute just catches him solid. So next up, we're going to have Data versus Jay. Now, this is a fight that you really got to keep an eye on because there's a lot of things in play here that play into the favor of Jay on why Data lost his title. Data was very heavy pressure. He stayed in his face the entirety of this fight, did not give an inch. But in doing that, it ended up hurting him. Because there's something that Jay's going to throw here that is going to really affect Data going forward.
And with Data staying in Jay's...
So you watch right here. Sorry about that. But you watch right here. You see he goes for the body shot. He's able to counter it with this lead elbow. This shot right here is really what affected the entirety of this match. I know it doesn't seem like much now. There, he just caught it again.
But as see, Data is pressing Jay.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily a great thing to do, again, especially when you're using Yuri Prohaska. You know, he's very good off his back foot. He is a back foot style fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So constantly pressuring him is going to leave a lot of things open.
Well, again, you see no distance, and Yuri's going to come across, and he's going to catch this hook. If you were to break down these two men, this one here has more power. This one here needs to be on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
There it is again, that same elbow. Like I said, it's going to play a big factor going into this fight. We're going to go ahead and move forward a little bit. And we'll come out with the stats in about 30 seconds.
As you see, Jay is not looking to engage on on the ground necessarily with Data, because he is using Paul Craig, and you know that's where Data has gotten his belt at.
Yeah, with that elbow, man, you can see it even in fast motion. You see that shot. I know I made y'all pay attention to it. You can see it raining through. He's catching it time and time again. It's already busted Craig open.
And it's not like it's a spammy move. You know, he is timing it. He's throwing it out there in single strikes, and it's not a consecutive back-to-back strike. He's catching him at his most vulnerable when he's going for a strike and his guard is down.
So look at the numbers here. You got one stun wobble, one body health event. You got 41 to 73, 47 of 112, 1 to 2 takedowns. Of course, he didn't have control, but you have. This is the big thing right here is throwing Data off his game. 1 of 10 on takedowns and only 37 seconds of control. So Jay did a good job of taking Data out of his element and catching him with big counter shots every time he would go to the body.
Yeah, and Data was lacking on the clinch game. You know, that could have helped a little. You know, to slow that pace down of Yuri and get him along the cage. You know, work that clinch.
Yeah, definitely. There's that elbow again.
Jay was doing well to move out of the pocket. You know, and stay active. Use that bicycle.
See here? Let's see the stats. See that eye, though. That eye, Craig, has been cut open since round 1. And are these round 2 stats? And we're not seeing the round 3 stats. They didn't show the round.
No.
Oh, that was the right round. Okay. And you see now the want-to of Jay to go ahead and get this fight over with. And I mean, he is at that point. He can go ahead and finish this fight at any moment of the fight. Data right now is the one that needs to be. He should have been putting in work. He should have put in more groundwork and attempted to keep this guy down there. And I think it would have been a different way.
Yeah, it seems that he was expecting better ground defense by Jay. But at this point, when Data finally got him down on the ground for an extended period of time, he seemed to be the more dominant grappler there.
Right.
He just had issues locking in the submission completely and keeping him down on the ground. I mean, really, what it seems, even at this speed, you see
There it
that
is again.
Data was having an issue moving his head off the center line. He was
Yeah.
standing in front of Jay quite a bit, so
Well, like I
which was
said,
causing his block to be pulled forward a lot.
it all boils down to this right here: the space between you. If you're going against somebody that's so heavy with their strikes and they're gonna hurt you every time they strike, then you need to be out at about this distance. You don't need to be right in their face. There's no point in you being right in their face, especially when you're defending the title. He has to come take that belt from you. Nice knee there by Jay. But he has to come take that belt from you and become the champion. All you have to do is defend it. And this was the first actual sub lock-in. This was very close for finishing with Data, but like I said, man, it's too little, too late. You're in round number 3, you're taking so much damage. Yuri is the fresher fighter at this point. But you go here, and now we're actually getting close to the finish of this fight. You see the elbow. Data wants to get in close and cause some damage, and Yuri does drop him with that shot.
Which was very shocking. That did not finish him like we spoke about before.
Yeah, well,
that
this
was
one
a
here,
nasty combo to get hit with.
This here, like I said, left side, man, left side. Paul didn't even see that one coming. Data drops like a stone, and we have a new light heavyweight champion. So, I mean, hopefully y'all enjoying these videos. We do the breakdowns the best we can, kind of show where guys go wrong, where guys go right. And I'm going to tell you where Jay went right was with that lead elbow and that lead hook all night long. He countered Data's, he countered Data when Data wanted to step in. Data wanted to keep the pressure heavy on Yuri, but you can't do that against somebody like Jay because he's going to make you pay for it.
He paid for it. He did.
Yeah. Now we got Ion versus Mr. Nicholas.
That's right. We have one more.
Yeah, we have one more. And for everybody that's watching, we still do have a tournament tomorrow. So y'all sign up. It's going to probably be around 8 o'clock tonight, 7 o'clock tonight. It's going to be the cutoff date. We're going to build that card so y'all will no longer be able to be interested in it. We're going to write all the names down, so if anybody's interested later, you were just out of luck. So if y'all interested in the prize tournament, please sign up. I'm going to go ahead and announce now the weight class. Well, I'm going to let Croc announce the weight class.
So the weight class that we are fighting in is bantamweight, ladies and gentlemen, fellow gladiators. This is going to be a bantamweight tournament, and up for grabs also, besides the prize, is the prize of winning that championship belt.
Yeah,
that's right, Modify. Your belt is on the line. This is your first one of your first title defenses, if I'm not mistaken, in bantamweight. But it's going to be one heck of a matchup.
Did he sign up for this one?
I believe so.
Modify did, so we do have the champion that's going to be in the building.
Yes, indeed. What a show will be. He was Modify did become our bantamweight champion by winning a tournament. Actually, I think it was against me.
Yeah.
In the last round of the tournament, and then defended it. No, did he? No, he hasn't had a title defense, has he?
I think so. I think he did. He did have a title defense.
Was it against? Did I rematch him?
You ran a title defense with him.
Oh yeah. So he has one title defense. It was a rematch matchup against me. He won that by way of submission. So this would be his potential second title defense if he makes it through the tournament. And what a feat it would be to win 2 tournaments in a row and to reclaim your spot at the top of the food chain.
So I'm gonna break this fight down just a little bit here. You got 2 stuns and wobbles, 2 knockdowns by Ion Absent. He had a very high significant strike rate. Also had a very high total strike rate. It was over 50%, 52 seconds of ground control. So really, what this fight boiled down to was Mr. Nicholas's inability to stay out of the pocket with Ion Absent. You want to throw those big power shots, but you don't want to be standing right in front of Ion. Ion is a top-level competitor we have here in the ring. Mr. Nicholas is a up-and-comer. He's getting better with every fight. But this fight here, he seemed completely out of his element.
I mean, look at the total strikes that Ion threw. He normally throws about 30 more strikes than that. So he did well managing the strike output.
Yeah.
Especially in the heavyweight class. He might have been a little bit more self-conscious with the cardio, especially going against Tai Tuivasa. You don't want to be too tired being caught by that man's power.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go ahead and get over to the finish here because, like I said, I'm pressed for time. I can't stay long.
But let us know in the comments, about what y'all think of this fight breakdown. We would like to hear your comments about it,
Yeah, give us some more
any
input.
criticisms and stuff, input, and all that. We're pleased to take it.
Yeah. And those who haven't want to join us on Discord, here's the link. I'm not going to keep it up long. And I didn't actually put it up there, but anyway, y'all have already seen. If you want to go back and look, go back and look at a previous stream. And anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all sticking around for this breakthrough. We ended up capping at about 8 guys, but hey, that's good for a little breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
And Croc, I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for having me, Boogeyman. And we look forward to doing more things like this. Anybody else who is interested in assisting with the fight breakdowns, it will be greatly appreciated. Let us know, hit us up. Those gladiators who are part of the Discord, who are privy to this right now. We are always looking for new members to help with the production crew.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Without further ado, we appreciate everybody that stuck through thus far. Data, good to see you. Until next time, y'all.
Peace out, gladiators.